As a chef, I know flavor doesn't begin in the kitchen. It begins on the land. And Westhome's nature-led Australian Wagyu is a story written in the landscape of Northern Australia. Cooking is storytelling, and Westhome Wagyu carries a story of Northern Australia itself. Raw, powerful, and deeply authentic. It's a testament to the passion and care raised in the rhythm of Northern Australia. I'm Chef Maylin from 88 Club in Los Angeles, and I invite you to visit westhome.com/Maylin to learn more. And taste a story only Westhome nature-led Australian Wagyu can tell. That's westhome.com/MEILIN.
So, Justin.
Yeah.
What do you think of zombies, man?
I've never been like a huge zombie movie buff. Other than like the old like George Romero, the original stuff. You go back to like Dawn of the Dead, the original, and then you got me. But the new stuff, I never even saw The Walking Dead. I couldn't tell you. Maybe I would have liked it, but I just never watched it. Yeah.
Well, what if I were to tell you that we're going to talk to a zombie aficionado, but not any zombie aficionado, an ad zombie aficionado? What if I told you that?
Gets me excited. I'm ready.
Really? Well, stand by because here it comes. Welcome to Marketing Geeks, everybody. I'm Andros. Here's Justin. And say hello, Justin.
Hey, it's Justin Womack here from Camarillo, California.
We're going to pay some bills, and then we're going to come right back with a very special guest. So stand by.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
We all want to know, what makes people tick?
How will they make decisions?
Handle feedback?
And work
as a team.
The Predictive Index Behavioral Assessment reveals how employees actually think, work, and thrive. Like how Marcus fits in a role with structure, and Margot's strength is collaborating with others. Because when we understand each other, work just works. Take the behavioral assessment today at try.predictiveindex.com.
And we're back. So our guest is a guy who's been doing this for quite a while. He's seen ads really evolve in a grand way. He's had a broadcasting career of 25 plus years, and he ventured out into the creative world to start his own business, like I recommend everyone do. And he was running his company and then stumbled upon a need for a Facebook group. Someone needed help rewriting an ad, and that launched him in a whole new business. And he started his business. Ladies and gentlemen, Ken Moskowitz, owner of Ad Zombies. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Ken Moskowitz.
And I feel like I should be on the psychiatrist's couch right now because I have an admission that I've never admitted on any interview.
I want to hear it.
Really?
I was terrified of zombies as a kid. And I'll tell you why. So I was 4 years old. So now let me give you some history. I was born in 1967, okay? Back then, my parents didn't know any better. We went to a drive-in theater and I was 4 years old. And back then, the drive-in theaters would show an A film and then there was a B film, right? The B film was like a secondary if you wanted to stay around, not a lot of high value. You're already there, why not? And the B film was Night of the Living Dead. And
man,
I was in the back of the station wagon with friends and family, and we were supposed to be playing games. The kids were supposed to be playing games, and I just kept looking at the screen in horror and was terrified that these dead people were coming out of the ground and like eating people. And I was terrified, hated zombies as a kid. And in fact, it wasn't until I accidentally stumbled upon like the 3rd or 4th episode of The Walking Dead. And I'm like, what is this garbage? oh, it's a zombie show. Ugh, I'm out. And were it not for my brother-in-law, Sean, telling me over a beer that I needed to watch this show, the name Ad Zombies probably wouldn't be Ad Zombies. It would probably be something terrible. Like, I don't even know what it would be called. It may not even exist. So ultimately, it's my fear of zombies that led to the series of events that got me to name the company Ad Zombies long term. Wow, years and years later.
Overcoming your fears. You know what I used to do when I go to the drive-in? I would, my mom would, take us to the movie, take me to the movie. I was the only child. But I would always like crane my head to the other screens where they were playing like the R-rated movies.
Because you could see boobs.
Because you could see boobs. It was like the best thing ever. It was before cable, before the internet.
All
good times.
All boys are wired the same.
Yeah, man. I can't help it. I got a glandular problem. So tell us a little bit about Ad Zombies. Tell us, what you do and how what were you doing before Ad Zombies came about? Like, give us a little bit of your 25 years in broadcasting and then how that evolved.
Sure. Well, let me go back to when I was a kid. Like, this whole thing started when I was a kid, really. I started working on and creating ads when I was 12 years old. I was that nerdy kid, like the one on the AV squad, that would spend time in his bedroom making mixtapes. And my mixtapes were not of songs. My mixtapes were of commercials. I loved advertising. And I thought it was the coolest thing that you could convey a message, right? Get someone to take action, to buy something, to have an emotional response in 60 seconds. Now, 60 seconds back then was the average length of an ad. Today, 60 seconds is an eternity. Nobody has the patience for that, but that's thanks to microwaves and the internet. We have no patience. And so I started my career in my bedroom as a 12-year-old. And my career really flourished when I was 13. I was bar mitzvahed. I was so lucky that I had an uncle who threw a ton of extra dough at me when my grandparents and my parents never saw it. And I went to Crazy Eddie and The Wiz, and I bought all of this equipment for my bedroom. And I had a full-on studio when I was 13 years old, and I was able to make some bomb tapes. And that's really where my creative industry start began. If it wasn't for having parents that just let me be who I was and have the creative space in my bedroom to do what I did, I may not be talking to you today. But I always knew that this was my field. This was my passion. It was something that, like, and you ask people, you go, really? You're passionate about making ads? Well, yeah, but to me, it's not ads. It's telling stories. And that's super powerful.
Now, when we flash back to you being a kid and you're making mixtapes of advertisements, are these like the jingles? Is it like the music ads, or are we talking about just anything, like just the voiceovers, like whatever? You're taking everything as the mixtape goes.
Justin, I got to tell you, first of all, I am a jingle aficionado. I can sing jingles that most people don't even remember, never heard of. My wife looks at me like I've got a third eye sometimes because I'll sing a McDonald's jingle from the 70s. And she's like, what are you singing? I did it one morning when I was cooking breakfast. We start out with an English muffin, then a cheese and egg and something really good Canadian bacon. Yes, that's how we go about making breakfast. That's a morning treat. That stuff is in my head. It's stuck there. It's like glue. And sorry for my really horrid singing, but
that was good. It was great. That was great.
So jingles were definitely a huge influence for me because they were so memorable. And for a while, everyone was doing them. So they became so popular that to me, they lost their shine. But anything with the spoken word that could create an emotional response, back in the East Coast or on the East Coast, Crazy Eddie was this huge electronics chain that, of course, went bankrupt like everything does, especially when you're in the retail space. They had Jerry Carroll as their pitch man, and Jerry Carroll had this shtick, and it was one that everyone knew. In fact, it was so popular that Saturday Night Live had him on once, and then Saturday Night Live also did a parody of him. And he would stand there in front of the camera in this blue blazer with a gray turtleneck, And the shtick was the same every time. Crazy Eddie, his prices are so low, he's practically giving it all away. Shop around, get the best prices you can find, and then go to Crazy Eddie and he'll beat them, right?
They did a Rick and Morty parody on that. I'm Crazy Eddie with ants in my eyes. I got ants in my eyes. Yeah, I'm familiar with this guy.
Yes, and so even Rick and Morty is doing parodies of something that 30 years ago was a huge advertising push. So for me, it was always the connectivity of advertising, the connectivity of storytelling, and yes, of jingles. I have written thousands of jingles throughout my career. In fact, we didn't produce it, but that the new Disney Lion King remake, the live animation, whatever you call it, I don't even know what that technology is. The one where they
I know nothing about it. What
CGI live backgrounds, we'll call it that.
Thank you. I'm just
here's the thing. Just this is the weird thing about it. They say, well, it's the live action Lion King, but that damn movie was made in a computer, right? So.
Yes, but they have real backgrounds. They have real backgrounds on us. They're live action backgrounds with CGI. I have no idea. Probably not.
Here's a little fact though. The original Lion King, when they did the wildebeest coming over the gully and going through there, that was the first time they used full CGI for giant crowd scenes in a Disney film. I remember seeing a thing about it. It was the first time that they used that technology because they wanted the wildebeest to have their own little independent sort of movements, and now look at it, it's like crazy. And
the technology has grown slightly since the mid 90s. So they've
a little bit. Can I make another confession? This is going to be confession, and I'm Jewish. We don't do confessions, okay? But
well, consider me your priest, even though I'm not qualified at all.
All right, Father, let me tell you about this. I did not. So my wife and I started dating in the early 90s. We've been married since 95. Okay. So we're like old school, like OG husband and wife. The first movie we went to see together as a dating couple was the original Lion King. And I didn't want to go because I wasn't going to sit there and watch some stupid Disney film about a lion in the jungle. And I'm so glad I went because I loved that movie. And I became a huge fan of everything Disney from that point on. And it was a pivotal moment for me in my relationship because she converted me. So
that was the litmus test.
It was totally.
If you walked out of there and you were like, no, it was a cartoon, I hate it, that would have been it.
Yeah, my wife's name wouldn't have been Allison. It would have been some other woman. But jingles. So let's get back to jingles for a second. So the Lion King has inspired me, and while I didn't produce the jingle yet, I spend time writing jingles all the time. Some of them never see the light of day, but this jingle is going to see the light of day here on the podcast because I want to share it with you because I think these are the things that help you as a brand, as a marketer, as a business, a product, a service become super memorable with your audience. So
do you have an Ad Zombies jingle?
Yes, we do. And
oh, I got to hear it.
And so as the new Lion King was being announced, back when, I think it was like a year before the movie released.
At least, yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, I've got to do like a parody, like a jingle, for Ad Zombies, and use one of the Lion King songs. So I'm standing there in the shower because that's where all good ideas come from. As the water cascades down over my balding head, the ideas just grow. And so I'm standing there in the shower.
Man, I have that image now in my head. You naked in the shower.
Oh, I don't shower naked. I like to wear a swimsuit.
Oh, I'm just so much better.
Well, that way you don't.
In common.
That way you don't have an image of me naked. So I'm standing there in the shower, and the words just started to come to me. And fortunately, I have, and I don't want to say the name. It's an Alexa device everywhere in my house. And because if I said it now, I would wake the one up in my office, and you would hear her start talking to me. And so I had her take the note as I was in the shower, and this was the jingle that came out of me standing in the shower. So it's for Facebook, I'm the copy king, so adjectives beware. We use bad words like fatten you with so much as a care. The algorithm loves our words. We write thousands every day. When clients see their ROI, they order more ads right away. They say our words are an inspiring thing. I'm the ad zombies copy king. Grab an ad for Facebook. Perhaps you need an email. Copy for a landing page, something that converts well. Don't stress about the words we say. This is what we do all day. Now it gets to the next verse. Clients say our words are the greatest thing. Thank you. Our ads are driving ROI upswing from America and Europe to Beijing. I'm the ad zombies copy king. Da, 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 da. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Anyway. So
how long did that take you to write? Because you said you had a year in advance notice here. So how long are we talking?
6 minutes.
6 minutes. I love it. Okay.
6 minutes.
Just in the shower. You did it in the shower in 6 minutes. That's right. So.
Yeah. A lot of creative ideas. See, the problem is most people second guess their gut instinct and they discount or count themselves out before they even give something a chance, right? I'm a big believer in, I don't believe in that, what is it? The secret bullshit. Sorry. I don't know if I'm not allowed to curse. If not, bleep me. I don't know about that secret stuff. That's just not my thing. But I do believe that if you put something out there and if you focus your energy on it and you really work towards that, you can achieve anything. And that's not a secret. It's called hard work. Right. But I'm also a believer that when you have an idea, run with it, because when you don't run with it, you're kicking yourself 6 months later when somebody else has it and you said, damn it, I thought of that. Well, why didn't you do anything about it? Right. So I'm always generating new ideas, new creative. And even though the Copy King hasn't seen the light of day as a music video, it might. But I'm not super motivated to like turn this into a full-fledged music video at the moment. But somewhere down the road, it might be something I do, but something better might come along. But I've written the words, I've got it, and I can recall it at any time. And that's motivation for future creative.
Yeah, Copy King the musical. I can see it now. It's going to be a big hit on Broadway.
And by the way, you know that part where they go at the beginning of The Lion King where he holds up Simba and it goes, ha, Zabenya, right? So yeah. my words for that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, my words for that are jalapenos. No matter how you slice them, they come out hot, hot. So
I love it, man. So, well, let me. So obviously, it makes sense why you were in broadcasting for 25 years. Let's go back in time and tell me about like what happened that made you leave broadcasting and get into this line of work.
So the broadcast industry. Unfortunately, it hasn't gotten better since I left it. So I wasn't the cause of the problem. The industry is its own problem. The industry doesn't realize that the life support systems that it was on have been pulled and it's dying, and it's dying a slow death. It's just the respiration is slowly slowing down, and eventually the industry will black out and no one will be left in the broadcast industry. So I saw this happening, and I also felt a little creatively stagnant. I felt like I needed to spread my wings and really put my creative power, my brain, to work for other things and to really reap the rewards of doing this for myself. And so I took that bold leap and stepped out, and it was the best decision I made. Now, in the years since I left radio in 2011, I started another company. We did full service film and video production, have traveled the world shooting TV pilots and other things. And that company lives on today. I don't have to do anything with it. It's I just get paid by it. But then in 2017, as you'd mentioned earlier, I was in this Facebook group and someone posted an ad that was just, it was atrocious. It was terrible. And part of the reason why, and this goes back to us talking about you peering over the screen at the drive-in movie, the ad was for breast augmentation, but it was written by a guy from a guy's perspective. And we all know guys love boobies. And so the ad didn't resonate.
You don't know me.
So the ad didn't resonate with women, and he posted in the Facebook group that this ad isn't converting. Can anyone help? And a lot of people just jumped on him and said, yeah, this ad really does suck. Well, he already knew that. Why do you really need to reaffirm to this guy that the ad was terrible? No. Instead, he's asking for help and no one was helping him. So I wrote into the comments section of the ad, hey, here's what I believe is wrong with the ad and why it's not converting. And here's the way I would write the ad if I was writing it. And I simply rewrote the entire ad in the comments section of that Facebook post. And within a few minutes, there were 10 to 15 comments from people saying, oh my God, I wish I could write like that. Wow, that's incredible. Holy man, where did you learn to write like this? Now, for me, what I do is not special because it's a natural gift for me. And when I say that, that sounds arrogant, but it's so easy for me. Words just come to me like easily.
It's your superpower.
That's my superpower, right? Some people can last in a 30-minute porno scene. That's not mine. I can write. What is this? Is this okay that I said that?
Oh, you're all good.
That's fine.
We're a explicit podcast. You can say what you want.
Oh,
you're tame. You're tame right now. Yeah.
Oh, good. I've been holding back. Plus, I'm a little Chinese food deficient right now. I'm experiencing a deficiency. So, but I've heard from my team that there is Chinese food on the way. So that's good.
Nice.
That'll refuel the tank. So anyway, as I go in 16 different directions, right? It's terrible. So that's my superpower. Words just come to me really, really easily. And all I did was replied back to these people. Thank you. And if you ever need help with anything, reach out to me. I'm happy to, help you with your copy, whatever. And
now you mentioned a while ago that you are a storyteller by nature. So when you rewrote that ad, did you do it in the format of telling a story, or was it more in the format of like influential sales copy, just not necessarily storytelling, but in the sense of just like the way the format that it was written in? Like how did you amend this ad to make it live again? Because I like the metaphor of the zombie, because this ad was dead and you brought it back to life. You brought it back from the dead.
I resurrected the ad. and the way I did that was, first of all, I stripped out everything that had to do with guys think differently than women. Men and women are wired completely differently.
Really?
With men, you have to first hit them in their brains, in their heads. With women, you have to hit them in the heart first. And if you can get them in the heart, then the brain makes the natural connection. So I switched it to a storytelling ad, right? I told the story of a fictional woman, and then moved it into sales copy based on her experience and aspirational copy for how your life could be better too, right? Because you got to think about who is the target audience for someone, a plastic surgeon who does breast augmentation. There's a few different audiences here, right? There are women who have body self-image issues, right? Body dysmorphia and other things like that. There are women who have survived cancer and have had a mastectomy or a double mastectomy, and all they want is to be reconstructed, to be whole again, right? You've got to think about the what are these women feeling, right? And even though you're a guy and you can't necessarily feel that, you can do your market research, right? You can talk to women. I could have a very frank discussion with 5 women, and in 2 minutes, I will know exactly how this ad needs to be worded. So it's really knowing who that audience is and knowing how to speak to them. And that's critical. And if you know how to speak to that audience, you're going to win every time.
In this example, would you go and write 3 separate ads for those 3 different sub target market audiences that you described right there? Or would you tell a story that kind of all encompasses those different problems all into one story? I'm just kind of curious if you would take this specific enough to kind of write 3 separate ads and target independently, or if you would kind of keep it all more into a single story that addresses all of those needs. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. If the client is requesting an ad for 3 different audiences, right, then you create 3 different ads. If the client is saying, hey, these are the audiences we serve, can you write an ad that covers all of them? Very difficult to cover an ad that covers men and women and children 15 to 500 years old, right? But can you write an ad that speaks to all women that may be considering breast surgery, that may want augmentation, or may want to feel better about themselves, or may have survived cancer? Can you write an ad? Yes, you can. Because what you're doing is you're painting a very vivid picture. You see, you have to understand something. Words are so powerful. Words paint more vivid images in people's minds than pictures. And here's my proof of this. I'm going to put you guys right on the spot right now. Try not to think of a red door.
I just thought of you in the shower. I don't know what happened.
When you say to someone, try not to think of, and then fill in the blank, right? Ken in the shower, immediately, if you know what I look like, who I am, you're going to have a vision of me. Try not to think of a red door. The first thing you have to do in order not to think of something is think of it. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah. So I mean, words really shape our reality, you know, the context of things. I mean, it's when you lay down words in the correct order, you can change thought patterns and change reality. And that's why they call it spelling.
Yeah. Syntax is super important. The order and organization of words can change the entire structure of a sentence, right? If I say, the dog bit Justin, right? You have in your mind a vision of the dog biting Justin, right? And that's a very normal sentence structure, something that you can quickly, and it doesn't matter what kind of dog it is. 16 people listening to this might see one dog, 100 might see another dog in their head. But they all have a vision of what a dog biting Justin looks like. Now, if I said Justin bit the dog, right? It's the same sentence, the same exact words, but the syntax or the order, the organization of the words is different, changes the entire visual. And that's just a simple example. So the way you organize your words is very important. It's very powerful and can change the vision that the consumer, the person reading the message, sees in their head.
So let's go back to when you because I'm curious how you made the leap. You were in and I've been in this spot where it's like I'm in an industry, the writing's on the wall, it's not going to last. I worked for Comcast Cable, and I've told this story before where Netflix, was a DVD mail order company when I started, and then when they started the streaming service, I had a chance to sit down with a VP and I asked him, what are you guys going to do about Netflix? And he looks at me and he says, Netflix is not our competition. Our competition is the people that go to Blockbuster to rent movies on a Saturday night and they're not watching cable. And I was like, oh, you guys are toast. And that was the thing that got me to start my own business. But you saw the writing on the wall. How did you go through the process of getting your first client? And what was that like? Because you're married, you got 5 kids. You probably had kids at the time. So what was that transition like, and what happened during that time?
Well, first, that weighed really heavily on me. The fact that I had 5 kids, still have 5 kids, and that I needed to support them. However, I knew that over the course of my career, I had made millions and millions of dollars for not only the company, but for the clients that I served. Because I was the creative director. So I was the guy that was brought into all the meetings to help them close the deal, right? I was like the Don Draper. I would come in and paint the picture of what the campaign was going to look like and the words. And then they would get the big deals signed. They would get the bonus. They would get the trips. I started feeling very resentful because all I got was my salary. And then eventually I got a bonus structure, but I was feeling so restless. I was like, man, I got to do something different. And I just knew that it was the time, and I trusted my instinct, and I knew myself well enough to know that I am a hustler and nothing is going to stop me. In fact, I'm sitting here right now. I have a black Ray Dunn mug, and Ray Dunn is she makes all this artwork and ceramic stuff, and it's a hustle mug. And my wife got it for me, and I'm a hustler. And a hustler isn't someone who does bad things and swindles people. No, a hustler is someone who just has nonstop action. They don't let weeds grow under their feet. They're just in constant motion. So I always had side gigs when I was in the broadcast industry. I had a production studio in my house, and I was imaging and branding radio stations around the world and had lots of clients. And so that was one thing. I started a mobile DJ company. So I had another business going. So I always had more irons in the fire than just my day job, right? You have day job and you have side hustle. I always had side hustle. And so I just knew that stepping out was the right thing for me. And no, I didn't know what it was going to look like at the time, but I knew it was time for me to go. Now, fortunately, because I had so many connections from just my years in the industry and so many connections to brands and so many connections to other businesses, when I started to tell people, hey, I'm going to step out, do my own thing, people would say to me, hey, let me know if you go out on your own, let me know when you leave, because I'd love to work with you, have loved your creative over the years. So I had a lot of clients in my corner that I had worked with, over the couple of decades, but I really had nothing guaranteed. And so when I stepped out, I got really lucky. And here's the luck part. And I say luck because it was just timing. I couldn't have made the timing what it is. M&Ms, the candy company, was looking for some new, fresh creative. And I knew that all of the jabronis in the marketing world were going to show up with storyboards. And they were going to put on a dog and pony show of what these storyboards did and how it sold their product.
It's actually Jabroni Americans. We got to keep it kind of PC for the show.
Sorry, Jabroni Americans. And so Sean, my creative collaboration partner, he and I, and Sean is now our head copywriter at Ad Zombies. He and I started putting together an ad and created an ad for M&Ms. But instead of creating a storyboard, we actually built the ad. We created the ad. We invested the time and put this thing together. And of all of the different creative companies in the world that pitched to M&M Mars, they picked us. And so my first client out of the gate was M&Ms. And that was a good win.
And this was a video ad? Was this like a television ad that you were?
It was.
Okay.
It was. And so that's how it started. And then, so when I left, my next client after that was a CPA firm.
But wait, before you go to the next client, what was the concept? I want to hear this. I want to hear the basic summary of what you pitched to Mars M&M.
Sure.
What was it? I want to hear it. Yeah.
So they were trying to sell more of the custom M&Ms as party favors for weddings, bar mitzvahs, you name the celebration in life that people do parties for. They want people to order custom M&Ms, right? And these custom M&Ms have messages, sayings, little images on them, pictures of babies, whatever, and they're imprinted on the M&Ms. And they were struggling to sell them for weddings. And they really wanted to get them as wedding favors. Like remember, there's a lot of money in the wedding industry. That's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Yeah. People getting married is big dough, and people getting divorced is even bigger. But hey, listen, it is what it is. There's money on both sides of it, right? And so the ad concept was really simple. It was telling a love story from the first time a couple met to the wedding, to the life experience of a baby being born. And what we did is we created an ad in 30 seconds that told this story using M&Ms. And so the M&Ms had custom messages on it that we created. And so fortunately, during the creative process, M&Ms gave us access to the lentils. Lentils are what they call the M&M product itself. So for those of you geeks out there who want to know something super nerdy, M&Ms, those little candies that you eat, they're actually called lentils. And so M&Ms gave us a bunch of creative assets to work with. And we had all those assets. So we started using those assets to create the ad. And we built a phenomenal ad in Final Cut and just created this thing, got a music track, got a voiceover at the end. There was no voiceover through the entire thing. There was only a little voiceover at the end done by a broadcast friend of mine, Robin Nash, who's got an amazing set of pipes. And I said, Robin, I need your voice on this. She's like, hey, anything for you, Spanky. She calls me Spanky, by the way. That's my nickname. And she's like, anything for you, Spanky. And so Robin Nash was our female voiceover on it and did it for no money until we got the deal. And then we got to pay her, which was super cool.
Wow, that's great. And did they go with the version that you constructed?
Yeah. So there was an initial version, and then there were several iterations. But once we gave them the creative license, it was theirs. They basically bought the licensing rights to our creative, and then did with it whatever they wanted, because they really wanted us for the creative ideation, and that was what we did. From that, we were really fortunate. The next client that came from the M&Ms side was Budweiser, and Budweiser gave us seed money. They just sent us a check and said, we want a few creative concepts. That's all we want from you. And so we're like, oh, okay, this is cool. We get to do, right? Because that's the stuff that I love doing. And so we created a short TV commercial. They were introducing a new product, a bow tie shaped can. And so, Budweiser, if you know the beer, their logo is in like this bow tie shape, white outline. So they actually created a physical can that was tapered at the waist. If it's a person, it's tapered and it looks like a bow tie. And so we created a jingle, and we took the ZZ Top song and made a parody of it. And it was, girls go crazy for the bow tie can, right? And that's where the jingles. And so we created this ad for Budweiser. And so they paid us just to build a concept for them. That was it. And so, I think having clients 1 and 2 be M&Ms and Budweiser doesn't suck.
No,
yeah,
definitely.
That lends you a little bit of credence. You got some pretty decent companies that you've already worked with, right in the beginning.
I got good authority. I got street cred right out of the gate, and I didn't go buy a Lamborghini and blow all my money.
Maybe you should have, though. I don't know.
Yeah, you may want to rethink your life choices. So, that's pretty amazing. And so, obviously, you're off to a good start. So now, tell us what you primarily do for your clients. Like, what are your clientele, and what kind of packages do you offer?
And who are you serving? Who are you serving now? Like, what size of businesses too? That kind of thing.
So in that business or in the ad zombies world, because they're two different worlds.
The ad zombies world.
Okay. So when ad zombies began, so I told you the story of how it began, right? This Facebook post, this Facebook comment started the business. I knew there was a need, and I didn't know how big the need was. So that led to me saying, anybody needs help, just hit me up, shoot me an email, DM me. That weekend, there were over 100 requests from people all over the world. Help me with this, help me with that. And I couldn't take them all on because I didn't have the bandwidth. And so I said, okay, I'm going to help 10 of you. And I'm going to give you like this ridiculously low price, because I wasn't doing it for business. I wasn't doing it for money. It's just the joy of what I do. And so, in fact, and I'm going to share this with you. Oh God, the confessions just keep on coming. There is a client that was one of our founding members that is still on the original first ever Ad Zombies plan. And he's paying, oh God, I don't want people to see this, hear this, know this, but I'm going to tell you because I'm just out there. He pays $99 a month for 10 ads. He gets them so dirt cheap. In fact, we lose money on it, but that's okay because he was a founding member and it wasn't a business when it started, but he was one of those people that took a chance. And we still have that client. And so we still have a lot of our original clients, but of our founding 10 clients, we still have him on that plan, which is super cool. And he'll never go off that plan. We lose money on him every month, and I'm very happy to do so. And I know that sounds really stupid, but it's nostalgic.
But I would hope that he's also one of your biggest brand advocates, and that he's telling his friends and his people about you. So in that regard, I would hope that he's doing his part to also promote the business a little bit. So even though you're losing money in the sense that you're giving away work, there's some value for you on the back end of that too. And plus, you have this founding member. Yeah, there
is a ton of it. In fact, I when I think of him, I have very fond thoughts because he's one of those, like, he was customer number 3. Okay, customer number 3. And I think that's pretty cool. I still remember the day. In fact, I just recently released a blog post about why I'm selling my company to Facebook and someday. And the blog talks about like that first sale. And then the first week we had $500 in sales and then $1,000 in sales. And like, I remember those milestones because, man, those are cool and they're memorable. And how do you forget those? So who is our audience today? Who do we serve? Which was your question. And I just went off on this tangent, which I do. Our audience today is very diverse. It's made up of 300 to 350 agencies worldwide, small agencies, mom and pop solopreneurs, 2 people, 3 people in the shop, all the way up to big agencies like, the big ones that you know of that sub out stuff to us, to big brands, to little brands. Then we have e-commerce companies, e-commerce clients. There's probably a couple of hundred of those that we serve around the world. Some of them are Amazon sellers. Some of them are Amazon brands. Others are big brands. So we work with a really diverse client base. And then we have this other client base, which is massive. And those are the SMBs of the world that don't fit into the agency or the e-com category. Those are like a 6-location family-owned pizza shop chain, or a couple of sandwich shops that are independent, or think about the bridal store or the photography studio. And these are customers that are just all over the world, in every industry, from funeral homes to flower shops to you name it. There are really only 2 industries that we can't help or tackle at the moment. And those are anything that involves weed, not CBD. We can do CBD, but weed and sex toys, because I think the world is just not comfortable and ready to see dildos in their newsfeed.
Well, God knows I am.
Is that because so when you're creating these ads, is that your specialty to put them on Facebook? Is that why you can't do weed, because it's not going to lend itself to that platform? They want to put ads like that, or?
Well, so we write the ads for the client based on the platform that they are running the ads on. We don't do any implementation, right? We're not an implementation house. We're not an agency. We are strictly copywriters. We stay in our lane and we go really fast in that lane. On any given week, there are 4,000 to 5,000 of our ads running on Facebook, and you wouldn't even know they're ours. But we write ads for Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, name the platform, LinkedIn. We have ads for every platform, Google ads. But those 2 verticals specifically, it seems to be a universal global thing. You can't sell weed online and you can't sell sex toys. It doesn't matter what platform it is.
Which is too bad, because I have a whole line of dildo-shaped joints that I want to sell. And I know they'd be big, but
they call them weed wangs.
Bam! That's what
you're creating the ad on the fly, on the spot. I love it.
Now give us a jingle and then we're set.
That's right.
I'm noticing that on your website you sell monthly plans. You don't necessarily sell packages like, it's the ad will cost you this much. You have like a starter for $2.99 for 8 ads, a basic for $4.99 for 15 ads, a pro for $6.99 for 25, and then you can do unlimited ads for $14.99. And so, obviously that's a really great business model. One of the questions that I get from a lot of people who are starting out is like, what do I charge? Like, how do I know what to charge? But doing this is a great way to just kind of fit into that. And so tell me a little bit about how that process came about and how you decided to sell packages rather than like custom sort of jobs.
Sure. So when I saw that there was a massive need for great copywriting, and I still didn't have scalability, right? There was no scalability in the beginning. It was a shit show in the beginning. And if I go back to that time, and we can talk about that later, it was a mess. But I knew there was a need, and I didn't know how to price it. So what I did is I looked at the landscape and I said, okay, who's out there? What's out there? And what was out there are custom copywriters that charge thousands of dollars for their words. Well, I thought, okay, is there a way to write this affordably so that any business can do it, but I can still make a living? Again, I had another business, so I wasn't too worried about it. I really wanted to be just doing what I love to do. Tony Robbins, I learned this from Tony Robbins. I am an artist, not an entrepreneur. I am an artist with entrepreneurial tendencies, right? So I have an entrepreneurial spirit, but truly I do things because I love my craft, right? So I'm an artist. And for me, it's all about the art. It's all about doing what I love. And so it wasn't about the money, but I also knew that if I'm going to do this, I need to get paid for it. So I started figuring out what prices look like, and the one-off side, still exists. If you're on the website, you hit any of those click here, get ad, breathe, those buttons take you to the one-off purchases, and you can get a single ad for like $49. And creating scalability from that only came when my operations person joined us, and we created systems and processes to allow efficiency. And then, of course, our team grew, right? I couldn't do it all myself. In the beginning, it sucked. It was terrible. It was me, and then it was me and Sean, and we were working like mad. I'm talking 5 a.m. to midnight. It was a mess. In fact, it almost destroyed my marriage because we got so busy so fast. We went from 0 customers to having a client on every continent except Antarctica. And by the way, screw you scientists in Antarctica who don't do business with us. You should. I'm a little bitter about that. We still don't have any. In 6 weeks, we went from 0 clients to having one client, at least one client on every continent except Antarctica. Like, that's massive. And we grew so fast that we were just constantly working. We were constantly working. And I remember one night my wife walking into the office at the house, because that's where we had the company headquarters, if you call it that. And we both started crying because we were just so overwhelmed. And it's tough. Starting a business ain't easy. Oh, yeah. But when you do what you love, you figure shit out. And if you can't figure shit out, you bring in the right people to help you figure shit out.
So I got a couple questions for you here, because you're part of your market segment that you're serving are these solopreneurs that are somewhat artists. A lot of them are going to be artists that may not have like traditional business. They might not understand business that well in the beginning anyway, or have a knack for understanding business. So once you create an ad for somebody, do you give recommendations as far as like the budget on what you recommend is probably a reasonable ad spend to get for it to reach a certain threshold of people where it's going to actually reach an effectiveness? Or do you help actually tell people where you think the sweet spot is for the targeting? Like I'm thinking Facebook in my mind here. I think that's a good example. We could just talk about Facebook for the time being.
Yeah. Do you do like the analytics and give them like some idea of how to place the ad? Like, how does that work?
And real quick, and then the last piece I just want to add on there is, Are you also giving feedback as far as the medium? Like, are some of these text only with an image? Or some of these going to be like a short video ad, or like those kind of things too?
Okay, so let me start with, do we give advice? Hell no, we don't give advice, because we're copywriters, right? Our job is to write the words that sell. Your job is to come up with your strategy, your positioning, right? We're just going to execute because you suck at writing the words, or it takes too long for you to write the words. I had a conversation with a client once, said it took him on average 4 hours to write a decent ad. And it takes our writers about 15 minutes. And just because that's all we do, right? That we're all copywriters, we're storytellers. And so for us, giving advice, not a good thing. However, that said, here comes the but. Over time, people have wanted to pick my brain. And anytime you pick a zombie brain, you get infected, by the way. So you become a zombie and have wanted to pick my brain. So I personally have been consulting with clients all over the world, and clients can have me consult with them directly. And so I do offer that now as a service, but it's not part of the Ad Zombies offering. It's consulting on the side, but I am the guy who does it with them. And sometimes it depends on the client and the scale, but there are clients that I fly out to and spend a couple of days working with them on their brand and their brand strategy. And then there are clients who just want to hop on a 1-hour phone call where we do kind of a brand session for an hour. And so, yeah, we do it that way, but not as a business model. Ad Zombies does not do that. It is not our job to tell you to do that. However, there are tools and platforms that we like and we talk about, but these aren't platforms that I go, hey, I get a kickback, you need to go and use this. If I use something and I like it, people know about it because I talk about it in our blogs, I talk about it in our content. I mean, we're the largest user of Promo, the video platform. We're the largest consumer of their product, their service, their SaaS. on the planet. We produce so many video ads, and this comes to the second part of your question. We produce so many video ads, and they all get produced off of their platform. We love the promo platform. Now, people will say, yeah, so why should I pay you guys, I think it's like $119 to have you write my ad and create the video for my ad. And the real answer is you can get your own subscription to promo. I couldn't care less. Go, do it. Have fun. It's a fun platform to play with. But because our copywriters and our video team know how to tell a story, how to create that scroll stopping video. Like we have an ad, I don't know if you've ever seen it, the clown ad, where the clown is stalking this kid in a field and the clown is bloody. That ad has been seen and shared by over 2 million people, has hundreds of comments from everywhere, every corner of the earth. By the way, the earth is square apparently, because I just said corner of the earth. All you round earth people have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah,
it's flat and it's square.
It's more like an elliptical sort of thing.
Yes.
Right.
So that it's trapezoid. That's what it is. The earth is a trapezoid. And so we don't write ads for specific platforms and give guidance. We really tell our clients, look, we're going to write the ads for you for the platform that you tell us you need it for. And we're not going to give you guidance on that platform. That's not our job. We're great copywriters. We're great storytellers.
Real quick, just going back to the clown ad, because my wife showed me an ad with a clown chasing someone yesterday. It happened to be yesterday. And I'm what's the ad for? Because I'm wondering if that was your ad or if that just is a coincidence that I saw a clown ad randomly. It was animated.
Okay, no, ours is not animated. Ours is it's a clown in a field, and the clown is covered in blood, and he's sneaking up. He's a very evil looking clown, and he's sneaking up on this helpless young boy in the field who has no idea the clown is behind him. And what I love about this ad is it says something to the effect of, what's the number one word marketers struggle with when they need help writing ad copy, or when they need something with ad copy, and it's help. We're here to help. And right. And so it's a real top of funnel awareness ad. We don't have we have very soft call to action. It's a learn more. But what we do in that top of funnel is we engage people very quickly with a video that people share because they're afraid of clowns. They like clowns. They hate clowns. Clowns scare the hell out of them. My uncle was a clown, right? Or this poor kid, or hell no, right? There's all these comments and shareable moments, but the ad gets a ton of extra free PR from the world. And that's an ad that we built in promo. Now we write the copy that goes around it, that wrappers around it in Facebook. And we write the copy that goes inside the visuals of the ad. But for a client who's using the platform on their own to do all this, takes them hours to do, even though the platform is amazing, because they have to go through the creative process in their head. They have to build the messaging. And the biggest struggle that business owners have is they second guess themselves, which goes back to what I said right at the open of this podcast. They second guess themselves constantly. And instead of second guessing yourself or going the dry route of, I'm going to just sell my product or service, how about you build a relationship? You entertain, you engage your audience before you ask them for the sale. How about you get them excited to want to do business with you? How about you get them talking about your brand, good, bad, or indifferent? By the way, there are people who hate our clown ad. That's okay. We have an ad with a woman who's got her finger buried in her nose, and the ad is picking the wrong words. And she's picking her nose. But that ad is a scroll stopper. It gets people's attention. Just like the spider ad, we have a yellowish, it's a creepy ass spider that crawls across the screen. And that ad gets people's attention, right? Because you want to grab their attention. And if the ad visuals get their attention, you get them to the headline. And if the headline can grab their attention, the headline is the introduction of what they're about to read. And so if you can grab their attention at different moments in time in the ad, we've done a great job. And so a lot of times clients struggle with doing it on their own. So we offer it as kind of like hey, if you need it, we can do this for you. And video ads for sure outperform every other kind.
I like how you talk about like kind of taking risks though. And because going back, you're saying like running with crazy ideas, I think is what some people fear because they want to stay within like social norms maybe, or they want to stay within like, they're afraid that somebody's going to be like, that's like the stupidest thing I've ever heard because they're putting themselves out there. But sometimes I think the craziest ideas are the ones that are going to land, especially in a marketing campaign or an advertising campaign. I mean, these are the things like you want to be original, you want to be creative, you want to actually stand out, like the crazy jingles, the crazy visuals. Those are the things that are going to be shared and memorable. But like you said, some people are probably too afraid to move forward on them because they, in their own minds, they talk themselves out of it because it sounds too crazy.
Right. They're afraid to push the envelope. And when you push the envelope, you know, people, okay, I'll give you an example of an ad that you would think, God, who's going to look at this ad or watch this ad? So the visuals of the ad. So I'm actually going to pull it up in my ads manager just so I don't miss a beat when I talk about it. The ad visuals show, and I don't think there's any audio. If there's audio on it, I apologize. I want to play the visual so I can walk you through what you're seeing on the screen, because we're talking through this. There's a hand on a piece of parchment and there's a candle lit. And as the ad rolls, it says William Shakespeare makes a life-changing discovery. And you see this hand reach into an old wooden box and pull out an ink, whatever they call it. What's the thing? The ink holder. And the visuals on the ad, on the video say, he doth sucketh at writing ad copy. And so he hath hired the ad experts. And you see him now writing a letter, and it's blurry. You can't see it. It's out of focus. Stoppeth thine pain. Now that's what's going on in the visuals of the video part of the ad, right? So the headline of the ad says, we write his best work. So now they're seeing William Shakespeare, or a hand that looks like it's in the time of William Shakespeare. And it says, we write his best work. And then the ad goes on to read, and I love this because it helps paint a picture visually of something that's total bullshit. To run ads or not to run ads? That was the question. William sat in his dank room, feathered plume in hand, wondering how to promote his latest masterpiece. His BFF, Thad, told him about some remarkable wordsmiths on the other side of the ocean. Ad zombies. He called them legendary storytellers and advertisers. William made quick work of drafting a letter to them. Dear ad zombies, dark are the days of a playwright and lonely are the nights. In the past, I hath struggled to deliver my works to the proper and most receptive audience. I heard you possess mystical advertising powers that can thus amplify the reach of my message for more to appreciate my literary genius. Please help. Hear my soul speak. This very instant that I heard about you, did my heart fly to your service. Most gratefully, Willie Shake. It's okay, William. It's okay, William. We've got your back, and we promise there won't be any daggers, drama, or death. When you need to convey the right message to your audience, do what William Shakespeare does. Let ad zombies craft your message so you can do what you do best. And that's the ad. And by the way, in the newsfeed link description that only delivers on desktop, it does say, we fabricated the whole story. In case you didn't know that this was bullshit, right? But here's the thing. Don't write
another tragedy.
Right. But businesses are afraid to take chances. And we took a chance. And I remember Brandon, my business partner, looking at me and he goes, that ad sucks. No one's going to click on that ad. Well, that ad generates a lot of revenue. So, one person's poison is another person's cake. And so you have to understand that not every ad is going to resonate with every member of an audience. And a campaign is not made up of one ad. Listeners, if you can take away anything from this, calling a campaign and only having one ad is not a campaign. You have an ad. And your ad is not going to resonate with everyone. It's like if you walked into an ice cream shop that only had vanilla and you hated vanilla, you'd walk right out. Well, if you serve one ad to your audience, you're serving vanilla. You have to serve multiple ads. You have to have multiple messages. Use humor, use storytelling, have different flavors, because you know what? Not every ad resonates with every person. You have to touch the right person with the right message.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I agree with you fully that you have to take a chance. I mean, that's That's how Justin and I started this podcast. We're like, hey, you want to do a podcast? Sure. And it was kind of a goof. We just wanted to, but now we're the 19th most popular marketing podcast according to some website. So that's great.
I like that. As long as it's according to some website, that's
my ad cop. That's the ad, dude. So listen, we got to wrap it up because we got about maybe 5 more minutes. I got two questions. The first one is, what do you do? I'm sure this has happened. What do you do when you create an ad, you think this is great, and it falls flat and may actually hurt the company in a negative way? How do you deal with that?
Are you talking about our own ads?
No. I'm just talking about like, have you? I'm sure in the.
Well, we had an experience with that.
you had an experience. You did.
Yeah. So we had an ad, and now I'm having flashbacks. I'm going to need a psychiatric couch again.
Just lay down, buddy. We're the marketing geeks. Well, tell us everything.
Okay. So back in the day, we had an ad, and that ad was for Ad Zombie Service, and the ad was called Ice Cream Scoops. And the ice cream scoops, the visual looked, if you looked at it, looked like a pair of breasts, but it was just 2 strawberry ice cream scoops with little red candies on the top. And so the ad said, stop staring at our scoops. And then the copy went on to talk about the struggles of writing ad copy. Well, a less than friendly group of women didn't like the ad and started this campaign against us. And my life was hell. Like, it was hell. We were getting like so much hate and anger online. And finally, our Facebook Global Marketing rep helped us because they saw that there were all these things that were just total garbage going on. And we had to pause our ad account. So sometimes a message can hurt unintentionally. We didn't have any idea that someone was going to be offended by ice cream scoops, but you see what you see in an ad, right? If you see that ad and you look at that and you go, oh, those are women's breasts. No, they're not. It's ice cream scoops. You're going to see what you're going to see. Those are your own impressions. And that's why ads are so personal. And so we took that ad down. But yes, can you write an ad that offends someone? Absolutely. Can it cause damage to a business? Sure. Did it kill us? No. But I would always argue that it's better to test something and then apologize if it offends someone. It's better to try something, to push the envelope, to stick your toe in the water, even though you're not sure if there are piranhas or alligators, because you could have stuck your toe in the fountain of youth.
Yeah, right? and also we live in this day and age where the apology, like the YouTube apology video, is like standard. Like, you guys, I'm really upset about this whole thing, and I just want to let you know that like I love my fans, and if I hurt any of you, like, I can't wait till we have to do an apology podcast. I think we should do one anyway.
Yes,
just for one.
We should do one and just have it.
You know what we should do?
Record it and have it ready.
Oh my God, this is what we should do. We're gonna. You just gave me a great idea, Justin. We're gonna do this. We're gonna create an apology video about our podcast and how sorry we are we offended people, and that's the ad we're gonna run. What do you think?
I do like the concept though of act first, ask for forgiveness later. I mean, you hear that a lot these days. That's
my life. Okay, so
that's what you got to do.
I got one last question, and this has to do with Facebook. I have some moral issues with Facebook. I actually, to put it bluntly, I fucking hate that platform. So
okay,
but it's obviously a lot harder now to do this type of thing because there's a lot more competition. Facebook ads, I mean, it's good that you don't get into the consulting part of it because that's a nightmare sometimes. But how, number one, how do you see the business now? And as far as it's running, and where do you see it going with the advent of AI?
So, okay, the advent of AI is interesting. And what I like about AI is that it shows the weakness of AI when it comes to writing. So that's an interesting thing for me. There's no AI that can write emotionally as well as a human can. And I can tell you that because I've tested AI over and over again. AI has its place, But where AI has a really strong place is in campaign creation, algorithms, audience segmentation, targeting. It's amazing for that stuff because a human brain can't keep up with the algorithm.
Man, I think Edward Sheehan
analytics.
I think Edward Sheehan is a fucking he's just an AI. He's just like a face for an AI algorithm that just pumps out stupid songs.
Sure. Because okay, let's say it was written by a computer, right? Okay.
Ed Sheeran, man. Have you ever heard his music? It's like, give me an Ed Sheeran
on,
song.
Ken. Go on.
Okay.
I can't give you one because
that's my point. It's not real. Okay. Go on, please.
Yeah. So AI has its place in the marketing world. I don't think AI is ever going to be super efficient at writing emotional connected ad copy. I have myself tested a few different platforms, and our ads written by humans always outperform the ads written by AI.
Yeah, well, the way I look at AI is I think it's going to really make it much easier to make those subtle adjustments in the targeting and in the, like getting the optimal click-through rates and the optimal cost per click, like those kind of things where you're looking at the back end and the data management. I think that's where AI is going to shine the most. I don't think that it's going to be writing creatively, at least for another 20, 30, 40 years. And
at that point, And at that point, I'm going to be sipping margaritas on the beach with the money that Facebook paid me when they bought me out. So it's all good.
Yeah. Well,
by the way, I don't hate Facebook because Zuck's going to buy me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then I will.
You can reveal your true feelings after he buys you.
I will write you. I will write you a letter of recommendation if that helps.
Thank you.
Well, this is great, and I really appreciate it. Now, you actually are going to do something super generous for one of our 7 listeners. And
for 2, maybe you said, was it for 1 or for 2?
For 2. And
I'm going to do it for 2.
Yeah. And I was like, in fact, this was one of those things that I was almost like, you know what, to hell with my listeners. I'm going to do this. And, but
Andres and I are going to take you up on this. Sorry, listeners.
That's what Eris said. She was just like, oh no, don't you guys do it. But it's a great offer. Very generous. Why don't you tell us what it is?
So I have offered to mentor 2 of your listeners for 6 months. And when I say mentor, let me explain the genesis of this. One of the best mentors I've had and continue to have is a fairly well-known business person, an entrepreneur, a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk. And Gary has mentored me beautifully over the last several years. He has been a sounding board when I've had questions. He's always there for me when and sometimes I'll email him stupid shit, but he always responds thoughtfully and never, ever doesn't have the time for me. And I so respect and appreciate him for that. And so I thought, what better way to give to jab? And I talk about that in my book as well, which I took right from Gary's learnings, right? His teachings, jab, right hook. My book, Jab Till It Hurts, how following Gary Vaynerchuk's advice helped me build a 7-figure brand. How best can I give back to someone, but then to do what he did, mentor? So I am willing to take on 2 of your listeners. Of the 7 listeners you have, I am willing to take on, you said 7, right?
There's 7 listeners.
Yeah.
7 listeners. I'm willing to take on 2 of them and mentor them for 6 months.
That's almost a quarter of our listeners.
Quite a percentage of our listener base right there. I'll tell you that much.
That's a big chunk. That's a big chunk. We do have the smartest listeners in all of podcast kingdom, at least in the top 70. They're smart. They sure are.
I did want to ask before we wrap it. We're about done here, but I'm a big Gary Vaynerchuk fan. I've talked about him. I've talked about him on this show. I talk about him all the time. I just did a talk about freelancing.
In fact, we would love to have him on the show. We would love to have him on the show.
Yeah, introduce us to Gary. Let's get Gary on the show.
We can have some introductions happen.
That would be wonderful.
All right. I love it. But what other I wanted to ask you real quick, like what other resources would you recommend to our listeners as far as like books go? I mean, there's books like, like Story Brand is a big one right now by Donald Miller. Gary Vaynerchuk's an amazing resource. Are there books that have inspired you? I know like Gary Vaynerchuk has a ton of them, and you might mention a couple of them. Jab, 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 Right Hook is amazing. But what other who are the other influencers in your life as far as authors and marketers go? And like what books would you recommend if for someone who just wanted to get started in this? And then we can kind of wrap up here.
Okay, so a book that I love is called Beyond Positive Thinking. It was written by Dr. Robert Anthony. It's a tremendous book. See, I'm all about mindset. One of the things that I've learned from Tony Robbins is your mind has to be in the right space at all times to succeed. And what I mean by that is if you think you're going to fail at something, if you say, oh, I suck at math or I suck at this, guess what? You're going to suck at it because you've set yourself up to suck at it. And so a lot of people have to just shift the way they think about themselves. So Beyond Positive Thinking is one of them. It's a book that I love. There are a couple of other ones, and I'll because I wasn't ready to give you like 5 different books, I will definitely, as soon as we're done with our podcast, kind of shoot you the list and you can put it in your show notes. But there are a few others that I just off the top of my head, I'm blanking out because at 52 years old, I've got a lot of brain cell damage.
Yeah, me too. But I've also been to Burning Man 20 times. So, and
legitimately, he has. He's not lying.
Where can we find you? Also, so if people want to take you up on that, how do we get a hold of you?
Sure. So you can there's a couple ways to get me. If you follow any brand online that says Ad Zombies, right? ADZOMBIES, that's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, name the platform, look for Ad Zombies. We're there. And if you want to follow me and my speaking, my, keynoting, all the crazy shit that I'm doing now, SpankyMoskowitz.com. And yes, hey, listen, people are going to forget the name Ken. They never forget Spanky.
Who could ever forget Spanky?
Yeah,
exactly.
Spanky.
So
I mean, Spanky Moskowitz. It's just
wasn't he one of the little rascals?
It's just a cartoon character. I mean, it's just like
yeah, he was.
Yeah, I love it, man. It's like
I know, but
I love your uniqueness.
The way to connect.
Yeah, and I love like how you like Ad Zombies is like something you don't really forget, right? Your name is something you don't forget, and I like how you kind of branded your uniqueness around that. It's great. Last quick lightning round. Ken, what are you so is Ken or Spanky? Should I just be is it just Spanky?
I answer to both. Answer to both.
You're Spanky to me, man, because I'm not going to pass calling anyone Spanky. I'm not going to pass that up. So what are you geeky about right now?
Killing Eve. Oh my God. One of the greatest shows ever. It's a BBC production, and I hate Sandra Oh as an actress, but I love Villanelle, this blonde. She's the evil psychopath. She's amazing. She's hot. I'm really turned on by her. I would love to meet her. And my wife thinks I'm a little bit stalkerish, but they've done 2 seasons of this show, and I am hooked on it. My wife never watches shows with me. We just don't watch stuff together. And we binge watched on vacation both seasons. And now we're going to have like this void in our lives because they haven't even started filming season 3. And I'm really kind of bummed about it.
Yeah, you got to do the 4 or 5 season. I do the 5 season rule. I don't watch anything unless
is it on Netflix? Seasons. Where do we find Killing Eve? Where do I find it?
It's on Hulu Plus and AMC, the AMC TV. But you can use the AMC app, whatever. That's how we watch it. But it's on Hulu Plus, and you can watch like season 1 there, and then for season 2 you have to go to AMC. It's kind of a pain in the ass to watch, but if you're a streamer and you know how to use technology, you can figure that shit out. If you can't, please don't message me going, how do I do this? Because I
don't need help with ads, but I need help accessing the show.
Yeah, I have enough of that with my mom, who can't seem to get Google Maps to talk to her when she gets in her car. Mom, you've got to plug in your phone.
Justin, what are you geeky about?
I just watched there's a movie I just watched. It's on Amazon Prime right now. It's called Under the Silver Lake, and it's very, very bizarre, but I loved it. It's super artsy. It's going to be divisive. Some of you are going to hate it. Some of you are going to love it. I thought it was incredible. It's very weird, but it's got like layers and layers and layers of metaphors everywhere, and I absolutely loved it. It's called Under the Silver Lake. It's on Prime for free. Go watch it.
Okay, I will check that out. I saw The Lion King, and it was so realistic that my fear with this movie is that people won't care about the real animals because we just have these digital versions that are in 3D and look perfect, and they sing and dance. They're like Animals 2.0. So that was a little depressing because the technology is unbelievable. It's like a nature film with it's unbelievably good. So
without the animals having sex.
Yeah, none of them had junk. There was like the big
you never
fight
see
scene.
that.
No, and they're
right.
like they're raw, and they're smooth as There was a decision in the Disney boardroom. It's like, do we want to put junk on these things? They had that conversation, but
all Disney animals are castradas.
Absolutely. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, so good.
On that note,
Spanky, thank you so much will you come back on at some point?
I would love to come back on.
Great. And and we will see you all again next week. We have an upcoming webinar where we're going to teach people about podcasting. So that's going to be awesome. It's free. We just want to give the information away.
Go check the show notes. You can find the link. You can access it for free. It's going to be on July 31st. If you're listening in the year 2019 ahead of then, you should go to the webinar.
Absolutely. And if you're a multidimensional alien listening to this show right now, hey, I'm here. How are you? Can't wait to meet you. Get me off this planet. I'm going a little crazy. So, thanks to Iris, our lovely project manager, who has been doing the social media and doing such a great job. That's why I married her. She's awesome. With that,
and for those two special listeners, do reach out to Ken, reach out to Spanky, take advantage of this thing. This is one of the most incredible offers that one of our guests have given us. So take advantage, get it now.
And with that,
but stay classy.